But this movie's about who discovered this. See, I always thought I did because I was alone when I realized I could cure things. Nobody ever told me. People told me I could do this, but they never told me I could cure anything with it. And as far as what this is here, it's you ask a question and get a signal. Can I cure things? And there's my signal. Or you can do an action. I am now curing my herpes, and that's not going to cure your herpes, but when you get a yes, it probably knocked out a little of it. You have to go in deeper to cure it. But anyway, that's what it is. So somebody was saying I should put a lesson at the beginning of these things. That's your lesson. You now have a lesson under your belt in case you never saw another one of these but this one. You now have a little lesson there. What I have, in order to cure my herpes, like what I have to do is ask, do I have any herpes in my gravitational body? Now I'm not getting a signal, so I don't have any. And I cured my herpes many years ago, so I guess it's still gone. But that's one way to check, So there's another little lesson for you that you've now absorbed, I'm sure, and assimilated and will be applying in your life. To get back to what the movie's about, who discovered this? Anyway, after several years, a friend of mine decided she didn't want to be my friend anymore, and she started talking about how she discovered it and I didn't. And that sort of created a reaction in me where I was thinking, no, really, I did discover it, So I went along in that illusion. See, it helps if you want to live in a dream. It helps to have somebody who challenges your dream, so you have to make it even stronger, So that's what I did, So I was going along thinking I discovered it, and really it was a very entrenched idea. And I even called a woman who was, when I assigned these two women to do a lot of testing and find out a lot of stuff, like amass data. And they did this for a month. And so I called the other woman and I asked her if she discovered it. And she said no, it was really the woman who she was with who discovered it, and so and so. So I went, oh, well, she may have a real point. Maybe she did discover it. I started thinking, And certainly I couldn't have done what I did without both of them, and hundreds of other people. Hundreds of people. Like the other day, I was talking with Barb, was in our prayer meeting, and she was staying at the house of a woman named Julie. And I said, oh no, Julie, I haven't talked to Julie in 20 years at least. What's she up to? And she's doing forum courses now. Because I guess when you do courses, you always do courses. That's just that's the way of life, People who like courses do courses in something. I mean, not necessarily New Age development courses. Another friend of mine was doing a course in botany, and she's like 70, and she decided to go to college and take a course in botany because she likes doing courses, So anyway, I remembered Julie being on the phone with me when I was in Philadelphia, and I called her up to ask her to test some things. And Julie helped me discover something called misdirections. And misdirections are now a lesson in the Webb College. And she came up with that, so there's somebody who discovered something. And by the way, if this is the very first time you ever got a signal, you just discovered that. So now you know who discovered it. You did, because you just discovered it. And finally, one day about a week ago, I woke up and I realized that we've all been in a total illusion. We didn't discover anything. God used us. We have been used, which there's nothing quite as great as being used by God for anything. And we have been used to bring this into the world. And it's here. And it doesn't seem like much right now. I never hear about anybody doing it. And there's an epidemic of a deadly virus raging, and nobody seems to be doing anything about it at all other than creating a vaccine, which, good luck with that. Probably it'll help a lot, but as far as curing it, you can cure this. You can cure whatever it is, COVID and cancer and allergies, cures everything. I've watched people do it. I have 200 people recorded in the Cure Drive web college, curing all these diseases. And then probably most of them are dead at this point because they got that back or something else. Because once they got off the phone with us, they may never have done it again. I don't know. I haven't heard from any of them. So I don't know what's going on with them, And generally, they were people who didn't like doing courses. And also, if they were going to do a course, they wanted to do one in person in a room with other people rather than alone in a park. See, for me, if I'm going to do a course, I would prefer to be by myself in a park, which is why I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Because I like courses too, but I just like ones that I do when I'm at leisure. And I do one of my favorite teachers is Nassim Taleb, who wrote The Black Swan. His lectures are entertaining and informative, and I really enjoy him. And there's many more, Jim Collins is another one. But just to get, and Jim Collins does courses, in person with people. And so does Taleb. A lot of his recordings that I listen to are their lectures that he's been doing for large groups. Like at Stanford. I think he teaches at Stanford. Anyway, but as far as the discovery is made in each soul as we connect to God. Because that's what happens when you do this. You're connecting to God. God set this thing up, it's like a carrot, and the stick is the disease, and the carrot is the cure. And when you connect to God to cure it, God's done his work. He got his result. You're now connected to him, which is what God is always trying to do with all of us. God is trying to connect us to him. Some are more difficult than others. I sort of feel I'm kind of difficult, but there's a lot of people who are really difficult, and they destroy themselves way worse than I destroyed my life, but they destroy theirs. My addictions really took me down, but they destroy theirs a lot worse. So many people are just living in horror. So that is my talk about the discovery of Immunix.